What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Let me fix this fucking camera angle. There we go. Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about something that might be not misunderstood, well, maybe misunderstood, but forgotten, and how it applies to different parts of different things that go on with the body. Now, the thing I'm talking about that, people are forgetting about is supercompensation. I think that everybody and their fucking brother knows what carb loading is. I mean, whether or not you're an endurance athlete, a long-distance runner, you're a bodybuilder, whatever it is, you know what supercompensation of carbohydrates are. You deplete the body for a certain period of time. Now, how much this body supercompensates is open to interpretation. Some people say more than others, but you deplete the body as much as possible of that given macronutrient, carbohydrates. And as a byproduct of the body being starved on it, there's some kind of survival signal that goes off, so that when you put the carbs back in, the body supercompensates and absorbs and actually stores more carbs than it normally would. Now, it's not going to be like 500 extra grams of carbs. Maybe you store 50 extra grams of carbs. Maybe you store 100. Who the fuck knows? But we see this time and time again with the anabolic rebound when you come off a competition, or many people when they try to carb up, and it's very hard to time because, again, the timing of carbohydrate loading is very difficult when you're trying to do it in like a week span time. And they try to carb up for a competition. They deplete for a few days. It's a very old bro way of doing it. They deplete for a few days. They load for a few days, et cetera, et cetera. They may load some sugars in there to try to get it, filled up faster at the rate of carbohydrates that are digested and turned into glucose and pushed into the muscle faster. And there's all these different things. But the bottom line is the studies have been done. There is a supercompensation that happens with carbohydrates. Now, the body is very adaptive. It can adapt to almost anything that happens to it. The calluses on my fucking hands are an adaptation of grabbing a bar over and over again. Okay? And they harden up the callus. When you play the guitar, your fingers start to harden up and callus from playing the guitar on the strings. When you play basketball and you're sitting at the free throw line and you're shooting shot after shot after shot, if you miss one, your brain actually adjusts and adapts. And it'll tell the rest of your body how much torque, how much power, how much spin to put on the ball over and over again, and it'll keep adapting until all of a sudden, boom, it goes in the hole. And you keep practicing that, and that adaptation becomes muscle memory, and now you've adapted to throwing that free throw as best as you possibly can. It's the same thing with everything in the body. The body adapts. You cut yourself, the body adapts to that cut by healing itself. It actually heals itself as an adaptation of the way that the proteins and collagen and stuff are used. Anything you can adapt to. I mean, you go without sleep for a certain period of time, the body will get used to that certain period. I mean, you got Navy SEALs that go a fucking week with like 1 hour sleep. How the fuck could they do that? Technically, the only thing you can't adapt to is you have to have water. Okay, that's the bottom line. Food, you can go for long periods of time and the body will get adapted at burning muscle tissues, sparing fat stores. It just adapts all the time. Now, we've also seen protein supercompensation with, I think it's 3 pounds or 4 pounds of muscle in 10 days. It's a program, it's in Big Beyond Belief. And they actually use a protein deprivation part during it, where you're not eating protein, you're actually only eating fruit throughout the day. And there's a certain workout that goes with it, and then you actually protein load, drop the carbs, and the body responds by actually utilizing more protein and amino acids than it normally would because of the state that you put the body. You put it in a state of emergency, and it reacts by adapting to that and then overcompensating when it gets back what it thinks it'll never have again. That's the basics on how it works. So now, recently, I put this thing up about the altitude training mask, which has gotten all kinds of fucking hate and bullshit. And people are constantly talking about how it does nothing, it does this, it does nothing. Well, the one thing that it does do is lowers blood pressure, and that's hands down has happened to almost everybody that has trained with it. Now, the idea that training with this altitude on mask for bodybuilding is a bad idea. Completely bad idea, okay? It fatigues you faster, doesn't allow the energy to be output during the exercise. If you're not getting the energy, you're not training as hard, you're not going to stimulate the muscle. However, if you put this thing on during cardio, you use it during your cardio, you are now getting the body adapted to using less oxygen. Now, are there any studies on this? There's a couple, so you can look them up. The body gets adapted to using less oxygen and still having to put that energy output while you're doing the cardio. Now, cardio is aerobic. It's not anaerobic. It's different. It works differently, okay? So it's not the same thing as when you're lifting a weight. It's actually the opposite thing. Anyways, aerobic with oxygen, anaerobic without oxygen. That's what they mean, okay? So now you're restricting your oxygen. When you take this thing off your face, the one thing I noticed is you breathe really easy. I have scar tissue in my lungs from pneumonia that I had, and I had died twice and pretty much was on the path to not coming back from this pneumonia, which causes me to have a hard time breathing many times, almost like asthma. Now, what I noticed when using this thing, I can breathe easier without it. So now what happens is your body does super compensate when it gets that oxygen back. So yes, training with the mask on is not increasing performance. However, when you take the mask off, your performance is increased by your body utilizing oxygen better at a faster rate. It actually works for endurance. I'm not saying it's for bodybuilding, but I'm saying for endurance athletes, it works. And people say you have to live in a high altitude. That's bullshit. Your body will adapt to anything you train it to. I don't have to live in a fucking high altitude to get fucking calluses on my hands. I don't have to live in a high altitude to shoot fucking baskets. You don't have to live in a high altitude to get your body to adapt to that altitude type training. Plus, you're talking about if you put someone in a high altitude situation where they're living in a mountain for a month, they're going to come back down to sea level and they're going to have a fucking huge increase in fucking performance. Huge. Okay, let's say it's a 50% increase in performance. Now, using the mask, let's say it's not 50% because you're not living there, you're not sleeping in a fucking hyperbaric chamber. You're using the mask and getting a 5% increase. Do you know what that does for a high school athlete for fucking 5%? Do you know what that does for a fucking college athlete for a 5% increase on a kid that's already fucking good? Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? It does have its benefits, and anything that would be done in a natural way, this is a natural way the body adapts. Nobody's fucking dropping dead from these things, unless they're using them wrong, but nobody's dropping dead. Okay, nobody's having fucking carbon dioxide poisoning. Nobody's falling off the fucking elliptical and banging their head on the fucking ground because they passed out. Nobody's having these issues. However, what you are seeing is the blood pressure is lowered. You are seeing an increased endurance and an easier time breathing. So even if it strengthens your diaphragm and that's what makes you breathe easier, it's causing an effect. So to say that they have no effect would be false. And anybody that says that has just not used it. They're going by theories that they have and haven't actually strapped one of these fuckers on and used it. My advice is before you talk about anything, anybody out there, I don't care who the fuck you are, pay attention. Before you talk about anything, take your ass out of the fucking books. Pull your nose out of those books. Go in the fucking gym. Do a practical application for a little period of time and see what it really does yourself instead of talking out of your fucking ass about something you don't know anything about. It's fucking amazing. You got motherfuckers talking about brain surgery and be like, well, brain surgery is only effective. Motherfucker, how many goddamn skulls have you opened up and fucking operated on? None. What the fuck what are you talking about? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, it just boggles my mind how many people out, and the internet is fucking completely to blame because these motherfuckers make experts out of anybody. I mean, I've gone online and says fucking this does this, and then another fucking person says no, it doesn't do that, and another person says no, it doesn't, it does this instead, and it goes all the way down the line. And all you have to do is just pick one, and that person is right. Doesn't matter whether you've tried it. Doesn't matter where the fucking studies are. It doesn't matter because fucking you don't know what the fuck it really does. So my advice is, and this is to anybody in the fucking world. If you want to know about a supplement, if it works, if you want to know about a training mask, if you want to know about a fucking rubber sauna suit, if you want to know about a fucking jump rope, if you want to know about a fucking bug spray, use it and see. I've said that all along. But it seems like people, and it's just the young kids that are shooting their mouths off, fucking, they don't really know any different. But you have to do things in life to find out how and if they really fucking work. Shit. Biowestertraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. Just go try some things. www.biowestertraining.com is a blog, and it's to try new things so you know what you're talking about, bicep, and we're out.